It is interesting that in Jain tradition, it is fundamental to their belief that there is no beginning and no end in the universe. And they have, after all, been cosmologically driven for many thousands of years. They consider themselves to be cosmologists and have represented pictorially the cosmology of the universe as bound to the 24 Tirthankaras, or spiritual teachers, like Mahavira, who is the most recent of the 24 and a contemporary of Buddha. Mahavira acknowledged that there is no beginning or end, yet human beings have a paramount role to play in Jainism. This was both acknowledged and inherited by various schools of Buddhism. That interests me because regardless of this greater consciousness in the cosmos, we are who we are at a time and in a place that we have to deal with, for better or worse. And we have to deal with our inner nature, too. For me, the cosmologic wonders and data that are pouring in, the new star systems, potentially habitable planets, and the many moons of these newly discovered planets that we are now able to photograph with unbelievable clarity, which 10 years from now will look murky, no doubt, make the role that I can play as an individual seem all but muted. Thoreau famously suggested that he never felt lonely, not with all the stars overhead. And yet, as you said earlier, we're so troubled, pressured, and challenged just by the rudimentary requirements of our survival that we don't have the luxury to engage in a discussion about much of the data that is at our fingertips. We just haven't rallied with sufficient trust or enthusiasm to get at it, although hundreds of thousands of researchers in hundreds of disciplines are trying. But even if we could engage at the highest levels, the majority of us are left just trying to get through the day. So I guess the question is, how do we even set up a table of contents for human behavior that gives us the basic orienting mandates and goals and titles, headings, and headlines by which we should be operating to get right? And that's presupposing that there is a getting it right. How do we set up a cosmic operating system or standard operating procedure that includes humans? It may well be that no matter what we say, think, do, or feel, we're going to get it wrong. It may well be, as you intimated earlier, that we are a tangent, that life on Earth is simply a meaningless byproduct of a much greater happening going on in the universe, and that everything we're occupying ourselves with, all of these questions, all of these beautiful dreams, and horrifying nightmares that we're experiencing, are not relevant, except to us.
Dear Michael, here you have reached one of the most important questions of the Tuscany Dialogues. How do we set up a cosmic operating system or standard operating procedure that includes humans? As we see today, the traditional physics, together with all her modern modifications, which you and Irvin are considering here, cannot give us any reasonable answer to this question. On the other side, such a cosmic operating system is one of the fundamental constructions of my unified science. It is the idea of the cosmic hierarchy of our solar system. This idea explains the existence of our Earth as a single living planet in an ocean of non-living other cosmic bodies. It explains also the necessity of the huge dimension of this cosmic construction, in order to give the evolution of life on Earth enough time to be able to develop such a high form as us ourselves, the human beings. It's a wonderfully effective idea, but we have to accept that it is impossible to connect it with any thinkable extension of any line of the traditional science. A paradigm change is necessary, just here. And just now.
Michael, on thinking back about what you were saying, I think you are asking not only about the how we are doing what we are doing, but the what is it that we are doing.
Yes, I am.
I would like first to say something about the how. The how means a series of algorithms, instructions, recipes, commandments, something that directs the working of an organization, a living organism, indeed of any complex system. Focusing on the how is to adopt the manipulative approach. It contrasts with the aesthetic, the poetic approach exemplified by Gandhi's saying about being the change we want in the world. In this approach, we don't intend to change others, we become the change ourselves. We become the correct, the right change when we are aligned with the evolutionary process unfolding around us. Then we are acting for the greater good. Not necessarily for the survival of every part, because the greater good means that certain things or beings need to transform, and some even have to become extinct to give way to the evolution that goes on around them.
No, Irvin, I don't think so. The dinosaurs, for example, didn't go extinct in order to give way for mammalian to evolve toward human beings. They went extinct because the lifetime period for the most of their orders, including all families, genera, and species, was finished. The Yucatan impact was just the cosmic clock's bell, of the level 7 of the cosmic hierarchy, announcing their time being over. The single algorithm, or commandment, working in our universe, and in every living organism as well, is the energy transfer out from the places with too higher energy towards the places with an energy deficit.
We are hoping that we can create a perfectly harmonious world, an ideal condition in which every person, every part expresses the wholeness of the entire system. What is good for the entire system is good for every part. That is a theoretical possibility. The how is to recognize that we have this information in every cell of our body, and it's this information that runs the Gaia system, which runs our galaxy and meta-galaxy. To access this information is not a question of coming across a blueprint or set of instructions, but of appreciating in a deeper sense of the word what exists and how things are, and then going with it. In other words, it's a seeking of harmony, even if you don't understand what that means in practice. By seeking harmony, we acquire enough information instinctively to find our way.
No, I don't agree with your point of view here. We don't have the full information about our organism, and about our galaxy, in every cell of our body. We have to collect the energy, or information if you will, from about 10,000 nerve cells in order to build a single brain quantum. And we need the energy of about 10,000 of such brain quanta, in order to activate a single superbrain quantum. A single tissue cell of our body cannot have any idea of the purpose of the energy quantum it has delivered to the higher level quanta. In quite a similar picture, a single ant cannot have any idea of the construction of the common home for the entire ant society.
We're not going to be able to impede or delay a supernova. We might be able to terraform Mars, but it's unlikely. And going far beyond Mars? Well, it's entirely unlikely unless we reimagine time travel. The technology at our disposal for such bold and probably ill-advised purposes is nowhere close to meeting the mark. Moreover, such initiatives as terraforming strike us as pure hubris. And then there is the whole scenario of leaving Earth worse off than it was before our species existed. That, to my way of thinking, is a desperate epitaph, both painful and deeply frustrating to me as an individual.
The same to me, Michael.
Given that we believe to be the case regarding the impediments imposed by special relativity, even now we understand that there are vast constraints to our emigration from Earth elsewhere in our solar system. But going beyond our solar system, getting outside the Milky Way, no matter how hard Elon Musk and Richard Branson yearn with the privatization of rocket ships, we are going to have to discover and then learn to safely exploit those legendary, so-called wormholes in order to vastly speed up travel outside the solar system.
Wormholes and time travel remain a legend forever. It's not even a good science fiction.
Which also begs the question, when we are so determined, by all appearances, to destroy life on Earth, why should we ever think to encourage travel beyond Earth, where our human nature would simply perpetuate its tendencies, on the other planet, for destruction?
You are definitively right, Michael. humanity has no future outside our Earth.